Yeah, man.
Another day at the office.
Yeah.
Do you usually start with a track, or do you...
This is MongolianMindset, and today we're going to be typing Kendrick Lamar. As you guys have seen, recently he's been all over the news. We've got requests from members for him as well with his diss with Drake. So we'll be typing him using Linda Barrens Interaction styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions. We have these broken down in videos. All you got to do is click on the playlist, how to find anyone's personality type. We'll be dropping a link to one of the videos, and then you could just figure out it from there. We also have a breakdown of all the cognitive functions. I'll be dropping a link to that, of like one of them, and you can just go from there with that. We do also have things where we're breaking down the core and the core needs of each personality type. I think that was one of me and Christian's best videos. So highly recommend you pick up that, because if you can find the core need of somebody, like we say, the SPs are looking for freedom to act, okay, to make an impact. Then you got the NTs that are looking for mastery, competence, and knowledge. You got the NFs looking for meaning, significance, purpose, self-actualization. And then you have the SJs that are looking for responsibility, duty, belonging, membership, things of that nature. Okay, we broke those down perfectly, and we also broke down the intelligence, so you can figure out like the different intelligence that each one has: logistical intelligence, strategic, tactical, and diplomatic. That's very important to figuring out people's personality type, because once you get one of these you're like, boom, okay, this person is in this temperament, all off rip. Like you seek mastery or something, you're like, okay, I'm dealing with a fucking NT here. Okay, but we made a great video of that. But let's go check the personality dummy base, who gets literally everyone's type wrong. I mean, my God, at this point. They have Kendrick Lamar as an INFJ. Okay, let's go check the chart here. So INFJs, they are direct, responding, progression, process oriented, movement, whatever you want to call it, abstract. They're global interests, TIFE and SENI. If he meets those metrics, we'll call him INFJ. If he doesn't meet those metrics, we'll actually find his actual personality type. And guys, the Discord is really picking up. You really want to get in there. There's some really great members in there and a lot of great information. The mods are absolutely freaking amazing, and they're fucking killing it. So join the Discord, and if you want to be typed by us, we do it actually free. What you do have to do is subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and put a request into the window, typing, I forget, it's one of the damn windows in there, but click on it and make a request, and then we'll get back to you with our availability on that. Like I said, we believe we are the best at this. Okay, I really take my time, I really take it serious. Listening to you 40, 45, 30 hour long usually takes me like 10, 15 minutes to really find your type, but I'm going to make sure and double down to make sure I get it correct. It's very important to me. I really care about that, you know. As my core need, it's all about fucking mastery. So I don't bullshit when it comes to that. Really.
Like, how does writing work for you?
It varies. Usually time me and the boys get in the studio and I can just go off a simple drum loop that I like.
Yeah.
My process...
All right, so we're already in, and he's talking about the process here. So let's just make sure that it's not a system. You want to make sure that it's not a system when people talk about the process as well, because sometimes people can say the process, but they're really saying a system, so you have to be very careful for that. Start
from just a whole bunch of premeditated thoughts. The process of me thinking about the ideas and what I want to say next.
Okay, so he's talking about the process. Okay, so we're going to go ahead for process, and he's talking about ideas. You can hit that for, so we'll hit process, movement, or progression, whatever one you want to call that. Okay, we're going to hit him for one there. And he's talking about ideas here. So we're going to hit him for abstract. Talking about ideas, contextual things, philosophies, things outside of the five senses. He's not talking about just concrete shit here.
Yeah.
You know, and by the time I get into the studio, I have to find that exact sound that triggered the emotion or the idea that I thought about 2 months ago.
Would you have more than one of those going on at the same time? Like, might you have 6 of those before you go into the studio, or do you do them one at a time?
Doing one at a time. Doing one at a time.
So the concept will come, you'll sort of live with it and let it grow in you.
Yeah.
Do you make notes?
Definitely. all the time. I have to make notes because a lot of my inspiration comes from meeting people or going outside of the country or going around the corner to my old neighborhood, talking to a 5-year-old little boy. And I have to remember these things. You know, I have to.
It seems like it's coming from his SI. Okay, what he's doing. I have to do this, I have to do that. Meeting a little boy. He's not talking about what other people are doing. So I get him for SI there, but we're not. We're just going to keep going.
Write them down, and then 5 or 3 months later, I have to find that same emotion that I felt when I was inspired by it. So I had to dig all the way deep and see what were the things that triggered the idea.
Does it always come back?
It comes back. It comes back. It comes because I have key little words that make me realize the exact motion and what drew the inspiration.
So I mean, you could say right there that he has a system there for getting his ideas back. He has a system for doing that. He writes them down. He does this, does that. Maybe it comes back 2 months later, but he has a system so that he can always get those emotions back to get to the song. So we're gonna hit him for systematic there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. Definitely. It's a process. It's a working process. I'm
going back to that process, a working process.
My worst critic. For sure.
Tell me about that a little bit. You're critical of you just want it to be really good.
Yeah, it's really about me challenging myself. I think my excitement in doing music is me feeling like I'm never stagnant. Me feeling like.
All right, so you said my excitement, okay. So it's about what his experience is there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit him for SI there. We let him slide on the first SI, but SINE is on the axis. Okay, so I'm gonna hit him for SI there. And again, he is talking. Wait, I did miss something there. There was something. My brain just went blank.
Just want it to be really good.
Yeah, it's really about me challenging myself. I think my excitement.
So he's talking about my excitement. So SI.
In doing music is me feeling like I'm never stagnant.
I'm never stagnant. So that means you want growth, movement. That's gonna be growth, movement, progression, process, whatever you want to. So we got 3 points of process already. This guy is process oriented, guys. Never stagnant.
I didn't get comfortable in my own skin of what I think is good. Or
talking about being comfortable in his own skin of what he thinks. Usually that's SI, but I don't fucking care. Just keep
what someone else thinks is good. Stepping outside of my comfort zone and
stepping outside of his comfort zone there. So I can hit that for fucking SI again. I mean, he's keep going back to that.
Excites me when I feel like I've accomplished that. It just keeps the get comfortable in my own skin of what I think is good or what someone else thinks is good. Stepping outside of my comfort zone and mastering it.
All right, so we got a core need just right there. We got a core need. Okay, so if you watch what I said earlier, we do have a video breaking down, but he's talking about a core need of mastery. That is home to the NTs, okay? We are really about mastery, okay? We really care about mastery. Everything to us revolves around mastery. It just comes out. Like I said in the video, like a lot of times I don't even know why I'm obsessed about something, but really when you understand the core values of your temperament or core needs, you understand that you're doing that because of the mastery. Why do I feel like I got to be obsessive about doing something 1,000 times? It's the mastery.
That excites me when I feel like I've accomplished that.
See, because he's fulfilling his core need of mastery. So this is looking like we're dealing with an NT here, process. So that means he's either ENTP, INTJ, and we got SINE. So it's looking like we're dealing with an ENTP here.
Keeps the hunger for more going. Like I don't feel like I can ever stop.
I don't feel like I can ever stop. Hunger for more, progression, movement, whatever you want to call it.
Do you ever consider, so when you think about the challenge to yourself, do you ever consider the listener or who's going to, like the audience at all, or is it more like just self-expression? How do you describe it?
I used to consider the listener, but now I'm in a space where if I'm not inspired, I can't really do the music. I can't feel it.
Yeah.
I think I put enough hours and work to be able to pen a 100-bar verse on the spot at any given moment.
Yeah.
But for me to actually feel an idea and a concept, it has to come from me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I have to block out a lot of different needs and wants, just for my own selfish reasons. But at the end of the day, it comes out where, whether you like it or not, you're going to know it comes from a real place.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel unapologetic. I'm not compromising, and it's going to feel me.
Has there ever been anything that you felt like, I don't want to say that on a record? Like it feels like.
That's a great question. I always said to myself, if I said it on record, I never retract my statements.
Yeah.
Because it's my self-expressions.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Kendrick. I think that's bullshit. I think you're gonna be retracting sometime in the future.
You can have your opinions on it. You can feel a certain type of way, but it's how I feel.
Yeah.
And
you can feel this certain type of way. F.E. Oh, he gets annoying. My brother says that shit when he's losing an argument. He says that shit. You can feel any way you want to. Shut the fuck up.
I can't contradict that at all, and sometimes I do come across them lines, as rappers, as we always have that, that thing about us where, it is controversy, but it came from some type of inspiration, and I have to say it. I have to be vocal about it,
And you ever look back on any?
I have to be vocal about it. I'm gonna hit him for pragmatic there, okay? I have to be vocal about it. I have to say it, even though it may not be the right thing to do, okay? It's not the right thing to do. I don't care.
And feel like you'd like to change any of the things that you've written, or
it'd be me saying I want to go deeper. I should have went deeper.
I see.
I shouldn't have held back, but moving along, I know, okay, you're not finna be in the box and saying what you want to say, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So he's talking about moving along there. That's another fucking progression statement. Okay, progression, movement, process, whatever this guy's process, okay? So we're going ahead and hit him for journey focus. Okay, we like journey a little bit better. It articulates it all in one. So we're going to hit it for journey there. That's what we got the most there. We did get that NT core, but we'll keep going because anybody can say anything, but let's keep going.
Content-wise, do you feel like you could talk about anything, or do you feel an obligation to talk about certain things?
I could talk about anything.
That's great.
Anything. I could talk about anything, and this is the challenge for me. Being able to talk about anything and make it connect.
Yeah.
Talking about anything and making it connect. Oh, fucking any, bro. Come on. Talking about anything and making it connect. Okay, any.
To a listener, where the listener can either feel like you or feel like they understand you, or
talking about what people feel like and all that. Us going any to FE.
You have just a deeper connection through the music with the listener. Talking to a little kid and making that represent something and feel like something. Or saying the most brutal, harsh things on record where, society may not want to hear it. But
society may not want to hear it. And I would say that's T.I., brutal truth there. Okay.
Still having that connection, and that's what I think music is about for me, period.
So it seems like his music goes from like NE to FE to TI. It's going between those and his own SI experiences here. It's looking like it's going through those.
Period.
Do you think about how to ask this? Let's talk about how you got to this place of doing this. Like, what would have been inspirations along the way for you, musically, lyrically?
And he does seem to be coming off a little bit. He does seem to be coming off responding, but we know we have progression 100%. And he's not coming off direct, so we know we got a starter here because he's not coming off direct. He's not choosing his role in this in the conversation. He's just saying himself. He's just saying it. He's not choosing his role. It's not forceful or anything. So I would have to hit him for informative and progression. So that means he's a starter. He is obviously SINETIFE. We're almost there with that.
Or philosophically that got you to this stage?
Oh man, that's a journey.
There you go again with another fucking progression movement, whatever. Not the journey.
To be how I was raised, you know, in an environment where having the idea of my father being, you know, just a complete realist, just in the streets, and my mother having this idea of being a dreamer, and me traveling the world and doing all these things that I'm doing today. It starts there first, you know, before I even heard any type of melody or lyric. That was implanted in me first. That's just DNA, you know, who I am and the things I talk about.
All right, so we're getting abstract here again, guys. He's talking about ideas. He's not talking about concrete shit at all here. It's pretty obvious this guy is abstract here.
Today, it's always the yin and the yang, the good versus the evil.
Talking about the yin and the yang. This is all abstract shit.
And that's how I feel as a person. And eventually that, again, that pushed me toward the music that I love to listen to. You know, and it came from Tupac, Biggie, Jay, I mean, you know, your usual suspect. These were the people that was played in my household that not only I love to listen to, but it kind of complemented my DNA because these artists always had different perspectives on life in general. And
we're talking about different perspectives. That's NE. Okay, so we closed out SINE. So yeah, we got Journey, SINE for sure, guys. I mean, at this point, SINE and Journey, we would have SFJ. Journey. No, not SFJ. ESFJ. ISTJ. ENTP. And enfp. I'm pretty sure that is all that is left. Yeah. Journey, ESFJ, SINE. Yes, those are the four that's left. So ESFJ, ISTJ, ENTP, ENFP, because those are the only SINE journey focused people.
Put that in their lyrics.
But we all know that SJs have logistical intelligence, and they also have a core need of belonging, membership, and all that, and duty. While the ENTP has mastery, right? Competence, knowledge, of that sort. That's the core need. And ENFP has meaning, significance, self-actualization, purpose. That's going to be their core needs. Okay, they're going to really be pushing it. If you see Tony Robbins, he's got to be going on his higher purpose.
Put that in their music, and as a kid, I connected with it, you know, because I see my older cousins going through the same type of feelings and emotion that these artists are going through. And as I started,
people going through feelings and emotions and all this shit. Duffy, man. This guy is Enneagram. Seems like he's Enneagram 4. I would hit him for what I usually hit these motherfuckers for. SP4.
Started to write and dig into my own thing. It just progressed in that same nature, you know.
Was that music playing in your house your choice of music, or was it the music your parents were listening to, or yeah. how did you get exposed to it?
Definitely my parents.
Yeah,
my parents fairly young in the city of Compton, and you know, I was basically growing up with them. So the things that they played was more in, you know, it was the hip crowd, yeah. You know, so I was being exposed to all these ideas, you know, from Big Daddy Kane to Eazy-E to, you know, the Bay Area, Too Short, E40, you know, back to Marvin Gaye and the Isley Brothers. This field of music, you know, just brought it, you know, my ideas to come. We never would have thought in a million years.
See, he's going back to ideas. He's not, his main focus is not on the concrete world of what is. It's all about ideas and philosophies and that thing, okay? So, and this guy's abstract, that would destroy pretty much everything and just leave us down to enfp and entp.
You know, that I'll be doing it.
Yeah, it's
You know,
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. You know, so I owe, you know, my first ideas of
See,
how I want to attack music to them.
When did jazz find its way into your world?
That's crazy. Yeah, it's a trip because I was in the studio one day with my guy Terrace Martin, and he noticed something about the type of sounds that I was picking in my whole catalog, from my mixtapes to my EPs to just my process of making my debut album to where I'm at.
All right, so he's talking about the system there, okay? See, that's what I said. You gotta make sure sometimes when people talk about the process, they're not talking about a system, and you have to distinguish that a lot of times. But right there, he's talking about his system and choosing his music.
Sounds that I was picking in my whole catalog, from my mixtapes to my EPs to just my process of making my debut album to where I'm at now. He noticed the type of instruments I was picking. He was like, man, a lot of the chords that you pick are jazz influence. You're a jazz musician by default, you know. The way your cadence is rapping over certain type of snares and drums, this is everything that a person on the saxophone and on the horn, you know, commute with how they hear music. And that's something that just opened me up. And then he just started breaking down everything, just the science of it, going back to Miles, Herbie Hancock. I'm listening to these chords like, man, I like that sound. What is that? You know, that's a road key. Oh, so that's what I've been liking all these years? Yeah, you've been liking this for years. This is in your DNA. This is why you pick certain instrumentals you pick.
So when was that moment when you had that experience in the studio where you realized that you liked it? When around was that?
About 3 months until my second LP, To Pimp a Butterfly.
I was going to say that after hearing the first album,
Yeah.
when the second album came, it was completely unexpected.
Yeah,
like
yeah, definitely.
nobody was expecting you to make that.
Yeah, definitely. And I knew from the jump that there was going to be a challenge, you know, for my listeners' ear. Yeah. But if I'm challenging myself in the studio, I want to challenge you as well. So I just went full-fledged with it, man, and we built everything from scratch.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So do you feel like this is kind of a funny thing because I'm asking you to project the future, it's impossible. But do you feel like Butterfly, what do you refer to it as?
Butterfly, To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
Pimp. It's a few things.
Okay. Maybe To Pimp. I was going to ask how you like to call it. Let's say the second album. Do you feel like that's more indicative of where things will be in the future, or is it more like that's where you are then?
This guy's abstract.
Or now, and we should, based on the difference between the first album and the second album, should we continue to expect it to change?
That's a great question.
Again, may not be possible to answer, but tell me your best thoughts.
My best thought, the best answer I can give you, that was me then.
Yeah.
That was me then. That's progression.
Not to say that it wouldn't be a continuous or would not.
Yeah.
You know, it'll always have some type of DNA in my music.
Yeah.
But me as a person, is just knowing who I am, I grow. I'm like a chameleon, you know. And
I grow, progression again.
And that is a gift and a curse for me, you know. But more so a gift, because it never pertains me to put me in a box. Yeah. And my ability to express it and to still make the connection wherever I go, that is my high points, you know, and that's something that I pride myself off. You know, it's always come from an organic place.
Beautiful.
My NE. I take pride in my hero function, like everyone does. My NE. Oh, I take pride in my NE.
But it sounds like the connection you're talking about really is your connection to it more than other people's connection
Yeah,
to it.
right.
But I think the thing that's infectious about it, and the reason other people connect, is they feel your connection to it.
Exactly.
You know, it's not even necessarily that, like, probably a lot of people who are your fans, who heard your last record, might not have been that into jazz.
Exactly.
But they feel your connection to it,
Exactly.
and it inspires them to open themselves
Right.
to hear new music that they might not have heard.
That is so true. That is so true. And you can look at a person, you can have a conversation with them, and you know if, you know, whether it's the music or who they identify themselves with, if it comes from an organic place, a real place. And we call the consumers, you know, we've been told to call the consumers dumb, but they're not. They know when it's real.
Absolutely.
And they know if they can feel it, you know. And that's something that I always understood, you know, just being a fan myself. You know, when I looked at, still to this day, when I look at my certain aspirations as far as artists, when I look at Eminem, when I look at Jay, I felt, you know, the stories they were telling, you know, whether it was fictional or not. These ideas that they was putting down made me believe, you know, any and everything that they were saying, because it just came from a space of whether a realistic point or just their imagination being so strong, you know, and so heavy, you know, that you just get bombarded into their ideas. And that's how it comes across for me.
Beautiful. I feel like even if you don't agree with what someone is saying, but if they're saying it and you know that they believe it, you resonate with it on some level. You don't have to agree with it to respect it and appreciate. It's just human expression. People really being them, allowing to show themselves is a beautiful thing, whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great point, because I always I've always been heavy on vocal tone and you know, where you manipulate your voice and things like that, because different tones for me just gives off different expressions. You know, I may wake up one morning and feel like the scenery right here, or I may wake up one morning feeling like the depths of hell, you know, and you may hear that grunge and that emotion, but that emotion, it translates through the music to the person that was feeling that way, you know, the day before, or you know, when they wake up the next morning. And I've always been a huge fan of that.
This goes back to what I be saying, man. These ENTPs be fucking, that FI tricks to be having these motherfuckers emotional as shit. I mean, my lord. Get it in check, dude. Get it in check. Switching up each day, every day with NE. Maybe NE's making you feel a certain way because you got FI trickster. Man, must be tough.
When I hear you, I don't always know it's you, because you seem to inhabit so many different characters with your voice.
Right.
That it's not always clear that it's you.
Right, exactly.
It's interesting.
That comes from my personality and DNA, and it also just comes from being a complete huge fan of Prince. My father was a heavy still to this day Prince fan. That's all he was playing, and I just sat back and just look. I could never tell when it was Prince for me. You know, he had a falsetto. You know, he had this baritone. He just gave you so many different emotions. You know, but I seen the way my father was always connecting with him, and I studied it. You know, I you know, alongside of lyricists, I've studied R&B, I've studied soul, you know, to even pop, you know, and eventually all these things, you know, gathered up to how I connect and approach music.
I studied this, I studied that, I studied this. You wonder why he's doing that. Core need of mastery. Goes back to it. He's got to study it all, core need of mastery, but that's also the journey on that as well.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. It's a great journey you're on.
Appreciate it.
How do you go into the studio experience versus the live experience? The difference, your mental state going into each of those things.
Man, that is a whole nother beast for me. You know, I drive people racket, because I approach my stage performance the same way I approach the studio. I have to think about it and live it and know how my mannerisms are, how I'm moving, all that is it has to be dead on for me, from the hits and the licks on how we rearrange the idea just to give the fans a new experience. It's a process. The same way I sit with mix.
Process system. He's doing process and system here. Very good advice out here for ENTPs. A lot of people say, live in the SE demon, but when you combine that hero and that demon, that's when the success is really gonna happen. Okay, when you combine giving people a good experience and stuff, what other people want and the connections, that's when you're gonna make money. That's when you're gonna feel alive. That's when you're gonna feel comfortable. That's when everything's gonna flow. Is when you can hit both of them two together. Okay. I know some content creators say some shit and make excuses about the demon, but I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, if you could get those two on the same page, you can make some real magic happen.
Mixes and mastering. Yeah. It's the same way I sit inside that.
See,
that
goes
rehearsal.
Back to the core need of mastery.
It's a process. The same way I sit with mixes and mastering. Yeah. It's the same way I sit inside that rehearsal room to make sure that everything is hitting on cue.
Beautiful. And talking about.
All right, we're done here, man. I'm going and done with Kendrick Lamar here. So I'm gonna hit Kendrick for. He's an ENTP, and ENTP. So the ENTPs are initiating, but I mean he's really not that much initiating there. I don't really like to go with that metric. A lot of times I like to make sure I can get journey or outcome, because those are staples that really can't, people can't hide those two. They can hide initiating versus responding sometimes, depending on situation, depending on interview and stuff like that. But that damn progression versus outcome, you can't really hide that shit. This whole time he's talking about ideas. So that's in the abstract realm here. He's not focused on the what is, okay? He's talking about being systematic a lot of times with his process to his music, how he gets his ideas, how he uses them, how he comes back to them. Very systematic here. ENTPs are pragmatic, so they care about autonomy, okay? Do what they want. They don't like you to give them assigned roles. They're going to be into controversy or rebellious or that nature, okay? ENTPs are informative. They don't choose their role in the conversation. They can be vague, wordy, beating around the bush, passive when they talk. What they say is very open. Then you have journey. This guy's clearly journey focused. He keeps hammering the process, or the movement or the progression over time. He's hammering that. He's SINE. He's talking from an SI perspective. His experiences. He's talking about NE as well. The connection to this, the connection to that, ideas. And he's TIFE. He's talking about what other people feel a lot. And he's not really name dropping. He's not talking about achievements. He's not talking about that. So we got him to hit him for TIFE. We're gonna hit him for Enneagram 4. Okay, I'm gonna hit him for 4. Hit him for W5. I'm gonna hit him for SP /SX. Okay, sexual. So we're gonna go self-preservation to sexual. Hit him for subset creative. So he's a creative ENTP. And I'm gonna give him prodigy level, because he's found a way to combine those two, man. That demon, if you're gonna be successful, no matter what your type is, you got to get those two on board. You got to get those two on board. Only through that will success come to you. Only through that will you feel alive. only through that will you feel your purpose. Also, he's talking about mastery here. A lot of things, he goes back to the mastery aspects. So that's the NT core coming out, and then the expressive stuff. We do have a video on that. Highly recommend you check that out. It's one of our best videos. But this is Mongolian Mindset, and we are out.